The Schlieffen Plan is often described as Germany's blueprint for a quick victory over France in 1914. That is not quite right. Schlieffen's actual memo, written in 1905, was not a plan. It was a staff exercise. It assumed Germany would face France and Russia at the same time. The lesser-known fact is that Schlieffen himself never believed the plan would work. He called it a solution only in the mathematical sense, possible on paper, unlikely on muddy roads. The real story is not about Schlieffen's brilliant design. It is about how his successor, Helmuth von Moltke the Younger, changed it in ways that guaranteed failure. Moltke took a risky but theoretically possible offensive and, well, turned it into a half measure. That is the overlooked consequence, and it cost Germany the war. The original Schlieffen concept had a brutal logic. Germany would mass 90% of its army on the right wing, the northern flank swinging through Belgium and the Netherlands. The goal was to envelop Paris from the west, crush the French army against the Swiss border, and then turn around to face the slow-moving Russian army in the east. Schlieffen's timetable was, well, absurdly optimistic. He calculated that the right wing would march 600 kilometers in 6 weeks. That is over 14 kilometers per day, every single day on foot. The human limit, really, was exhaustion. A fully loaded infantryman, carrying his rifle, ammunition, rations, and a shovel, just cannot march 25 kilometers a day for more than 3 consecutive days. Schlieffen knew this. He wrote that the troops would have to be, quote, extraordinarily strained. That was staff speak for, well, many will collapse on the road. Moltke inherited the plan in 1906. He immediately made 3 changes. Each one seemed reasonable. Each one broke the plan. First, Moltke transferred divisions from the right wing to the left, the defensive flank in Alsace-Lorraine. He worried about a French counterattack there. 1, he weakened the right wing. 2, he strengthened the left wing. 3, he kept the Netherlands neutral. Second, he refused to march through the Netherlands, wanting to keep a neutral trade corridor open. That forced the right wing through an even narrower bottleneck in eastern Belgium. Third, he underestimated Belgian resistance. The forts at Liège held out for 12 days instead of 2. That delay cascaded through the entire timetable. Here is the dry observation. The Schlieffen Plan was a logistics plan disguised as a battle plan, and its logistics were a fantasy. An army of 700,000 men needs 1.5 million pounds of food per day. That does not include ammunition, medical supplies, or replacement boots. All of it moved by horse-drawn wagon. When the German right wing reached northern France, it was already exhausted, low on ammunition, and strung out over 50 kilometers of road. The British Expeditionary Force was fresh. At the Battle of the Marne in September of 1914, troop strengths were roughly equal, about 1.2 million on each side. The Battle of the Marne was not a decisive German defeat. It was really a failure of nerve. Moltke, just 40 kilometers from Paris, ordered a retreat when his forward units were still advancing. Moltke reportedly told the Kaiser afterward, "Your Majesty, we have lost the war." He was not talking about the battle. He was talking about the strategic initiative. The aftermath was 4 years of positional warfare. The Schlieffen Plan's failure turned World War I into a war of attrition that Germany could not win. Over 2 million German soldiers died in the war. Most of them were buried in the same French and Belgian fields that the right wing was supposed to cross in 6 weeks. In 1918, Ludendorff tried the same basic concept again, a massive spring offensive through the same Belgian plain. It failed for the same reasons: exhaustion, logistics, and French rail networks. The broader lesson is not about Germany, it's about any military that, falls in love with a plan. The plan becomes the objective, and then the objective becomes inflexible. No plan survives first contact. Every officer learns that, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. But the Schlieffen Plan shows a deeper truth. Bad plans survive longer than good ones, because honestly, admitting failure is harder than just doubling down. Moltke was replaced in September of 1914. He died broken in 1916. His last words to his wife were reportedly, "I shall never forgive myself." The irony is that Schlieffen's original 1905 plan, the one he called a mathematical fantasy, might have actually worked. It was aggressive, reckless, and all in. Moltke's cautious version, though, guaranteed failure. The aftermath of the Schlieffen Plan was not just military, it was a century of consequences. The Treaty of Versailles, the rise of Hitler, the Second World War. Today, France and Germany are allies. The Schlieffen Plan is a museum piece. But the habit of mistaking a staff exercise for a strategy is not. Every generation of officers rediscovers the same tension between ambition and logistics. The Schlieffen Plan is a monument to choosing ambition and then failing to plan for its cost. Subscribe to War Machiner and hey, share this if you value history that goes deeper.